Hey, Kingdom Scribes. Welcome to the Author's Corner podcast. When it comes to being an author, many of us dream of leaving a legacy. And I always say that we are going to be authors that leave legacies of literature in the earth. But you may be wondering, how am I able to do that? I didn't even know that I could leave a legacy when it comes to writing my book. But you can leave a legacy not just by writing your book, but also being the blueprint for others. And I know now you're like, okay, Tiffany, whoa. What do you mean by becoming the blueprint for others? What does that look like? So what that looks like for you as the blueprint, you are one who sets the example. You inspire others and you create a path for those coming behind you, behind us. So today we're going to be talking about you being the blueprint, you being confident in being the blueprint, you standing in boldness in being the blueprint, because somebody is waiting for you to take the step to let them know that the journey of book publishing, the journey of writing, the journey to becoming an author is possible. And you just need to show up on the scene and let them know that. Okay. So go ahead and get everything you need, get your journal, get your notebook, whatever you need to come back and join me for an amazing conversation. Hey, Kingdom Scribes, welcome back. So let's get into our topic about being the blueprint as an author. I pray that everyone so far has had an amazing holiday season. I know we still have Christmas coming up and New Year's, but I pray that you had an amazing time with your family on Thanksgiving. You're having an amazing time maybe doing Christmas shopping, all of the things that you may do leading up into the new year. So let's talk about what does it mean to be the blueprint. I know for me that was taking a big step because when I wrote my book, The Reflection of Me, nobody around me was an author. Nobody in my family was an author. I didn't know of anybody, writing or having an interest in writing. And then I moved from being an author to a book publisher. And there's nobody in my family that owns a book publishing company besides me. And then I moved from being right here in front of the camera, which is being a podcaster for the Author's Corner podcast. And there's nobody that's doing a podcast that's within my family, a close circle. But God is raising me up to be the blueprint, the trailblazer, so that others can know that all the things can be all the things and that we can do it all with Him. So, we do definitions so we can have better understanding and wisdom of what we're talking about and the words that we're utilizing. So being the blueprint means becoming a leader who paves the way for others, setting a standard through being authentic, having a hard work ethic, and is an innovator. So you are an innovator. It's about building something others can follow while also encouraging them to make it their own. So when it comes to the Author's Corner podcast, everybody has a lot of podcasts out here. Now everybody has their own podcast and there's all different topics, all different types of podcasts that are out here. Some people are doing podcasts by themselves. Some people are doing podcasts with others. It's all different types of podcasts that are going on out here now. But even in the midst of a pool of different podcasts, we still have to make our podcast our own. So that means that the Author's Corner is not going to be like someone else's podcast. You may have some podcast hosts that are very elegant in speech and, use all the big words and the fancy words when they're talking to their audience. And that may not be the case over here with the Author's Corner. Not saying that, we don't know the big words, but We're just being real with one another, transparent with one another, down to earth with one another, and relating to one another in conversation. It's just a conversation. So me doing this podcast is setting the blueprint for my children. You know, my dad has expressed wanting to have a podcast, and his topic, y'all, is hilarious. Y'all have to, email me to get that, because it's hilarious. Of the topic that he wants to utilize, but I just cannot say that on here. I can't. I really can't. But me doing the podcast is me showing up as the blueprint for my family, the blueprint for my children, the blueprint for you as Kingdom Scribes. Because when we write our book, we think that's it. We're just writing books. We're just creating planners. We're just creating journals, whatever book that God has given to us. And we're not thinking that we can do anything past that. And then you kind of get connected to another author and you're saying, hey, they're doing interviews, they're doing this, they're doing that. And that lets you know that, hey, it's possible for me as well, because those same opportunities are available to you. And that person is showing up as your blueprint of how to move from being just an author to now you are collabing with people and doing interviews, and you may be doing podcast episodes as a guest, or even hosting it yourself. You may be doing like seminars and workshops and creating courses, to teach people what whether it be about finance, whether it be about maybe creating an actual blueprint, like whatever it is that God placed in your heart to teach others. Now you are taking it outside of the pages and you are creating a live event for someone to come into. And remember, I told you we're going to be doing live events. So don't get stuck in just in your book. So why is it important for us to be the blueprint? So the reason why it's important is legacy. Your work and example can inspire other writers to dream bigger. Somebody may have been holding their manuscript for years. Somebody may not have even started to write. But you putting your book out now helps them to understand that they can do it too. You can share content about your process. So you can talk about like how you learned about the process in a book publishing, or if you're working with the book publisher, like New Voice Books, then you can share your journey and your experience with working with us or any other book publisher that you choose to work with. You can let people in on the process. Show them how you're building that legacy with God when it comes to your book, when it comes to your books, because we're not just going to be one and done. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to write books. We're going to continue to leave legacies of literature in the earth. Your book is an asset. Your book is something that you can pass down from generation to generation. And that book can help your children and grandchildren and your grandchildren's children's children, be able to continue to generate wealth off your book, because you took the time to sit down, create that writing schedule, and you chose to allow God to use your story to change the world. Next is about community impact. By leading, you contribute to a stronger and more supportive author community. Now you're drawing people into you, and they're connecting to you because they want to know, how did you do what you do? How did you get this book done? How was this possible? Because they probably been saying, well, I've been looking at it and I've been trying to, get things done. And it seems like I just been, just keep hitting the wall. And it seemed like I'm kind of getting some, traction going, and then I get stopped or I get blocked. And it's just something after it's one thing after another. It's something, happening all the time. And therefore it's like, I can't move. So I feel like giving up. But you creating a community, an author's community, allows those writers to have a safe place to come into, to be able to learn from you, to learn from other writers or other authors, to get education, to get tools and resources, to be able to just know that they can do it. Even if your community is just motivating others, it's not really just going all into depth with the book publishing process, because you may be still trying to learn it yourself, but you are just creating a place where everybody can come together. Hey, we can write together. Let's come together and just write for 30 minutes. Being supportive of one another. And that's what the Kingdom Scribe community is. We are coming together to help one another, to be the blueprint in the earth, to leave a legacy of literature in the earth, to share our stories with the world so that others can know that God is real, God is able, and that our stories can help change their lives through the power of God. No matter what the story is, He can use all things to help elevate someone else's life. And so don't be afraid to get into community with others, even if you're not the one that creates the community and you are joining someone else's community. Then be involved. Don't join and then kind of shy out to the back corner and nobody knows you and you're not saying anything. Yeah, you're just liking posts, loving posts, but you're not engaging with everybody. Engage, because that can be an opportunity for you to network and collab with someone else. So take the time to either create the community that God is giving you to create, or take the time to join a community. So therefore you're able to, be connected with others and not be by yourself. You don't have to do this process by yourself. God has given us a community of people that are for us, because not everybody is for you. A lot of people will come and connect to you because they want to drain you out of everything that you know and then go on about their business. But there are people that are for you, that are rooting for you. And I'm one of them. That want to encourage you, that want to share information with you, that will show up and be that example, that blueprint, so that way you will know that it is possible. It is possible to do what God has told you to do. Next is about representation. Your journey may inspire someone that never thought they could succeed. Like, I heard so many people say, man, you wrote a book. I've been thinking about writing a book too, but I was just scared. I was just afraid. I didn't think I could do it. How did you do it? Like, how did you get up the courage to just do it? And some people, I encourage them. They may have been writing and they may have had a book out already or several books. And God has told them to write another book. And they were just like, you know what? I just didn't want to go through the process again. I just didn't want to have to deal with all of the things when it comes to book publishing. But you encouraged me to get back to what I need to do, to get at that table, to go sit at that computer desk, to get that journal that I'm normally writing in, and to get things completed and get things done, because I have purpose as an author. I myself had to accept the fact that I am an author. I'm an author. And you may say, well, Tiffany, you should be a pretty much confident in that. I wasn't. I wasn't confident in being an author. Because you know why? Because I was looking at my sales. I was looking at who knows that I have a book out. Who knows that I'm an author? I was looking at the likes. That's what I was measuring myself by. That a lot of people don't even know I'm an author. So am I an author? A lot of people don't even know about the reflection of me. So am I an author? A lot of people haven't even purchased my book. So am I an author? I was looking at the response and I was using that to measure me being an author. But when the truth is that once I written my book, once it was published, once my name went on that cover and it is out there in the world to be published, it is on my website for you to purchase, that made me an author. But even before the book was written, I was an author because God said I was. So regardless of how many people purchase my book, I'm still an author. I am a published author. So the likes, the sales, and all of that does not validate me being an author. God created me to be an author. He told me I'm a kingdom scribe, and therefore I am going to write books, and I'm going to publish books, and I'm going to create journals, and I'm going to create planners. I want to do all the things that He has called forth me to do. I am going to be the blueprint in this earth. Now, not to say that the sales and getting feedback from others is not a good thing. I don't want to say that. But it is not what I use to measure me and validate me as an author. Because that's going to fluctuate. I may have months where my book is selling out and I'm making all of the coins. And then I may have a month where everybody's liking, giving amazing feedback to me. And there may be times where somebody's like, I don't like it. Or you may have that super editor that may be like, oh, you could have did this, you know. There's always somebody that's going to give you good feedback. There's always somebody that's going to give you bad feedback, but take them both and learn from them. What's that saying? What is it? Chew the meat or take the meat and spit out the bones. Yeah, do that. I think that's what it is. Let me know in the comments if I kind of chop that up, y'all. But you have to know that you are the representative of success for someone else. Someone's looking at you and saying, they did it, I can do it too. And even if your journey took a long time for you to get to the place of completing it, the fact that you did it is still amazing. And you're still a representative. You are still God's representative on earth to show the world that He has some authors that are going to share forth truth and that are going to allow Him to use their story to change the world. He will do that. And He's going to do that through you. Okay? So next, I want to kind of share my little story. So I want to reflect back on the early days of my journey because y'all, it took me a minute to get here. It really, really did. And now that I'm here, I'm still in awe. I sometimes I sit in amazement of how God has helped me to evolve, helped me to show up in who He has created me to be. Like, it is a wonderful thing to know that an amazing God would choose me, would entrust me with his kingdom scribes. Every time I go to my website, when I'm like, trying to update something or maybe just looking at something, I always go to the Kingdom Scribe Library that's on the homepage of the website, just to look and see like, wow, God, you did this through me. And then to see the growth from my book to the last book that I published, to see the growth, in creativity, to see how God has pivot me from project to project, that he hasn't allowed me to just stay in one genre or allowed me to just stay in one project type, that he's allowed me to publish authors' books that are just books, publish books that include a workbook. He has had me to publish planners and journals. Like, he is teaching me all the things, and I know that there's more that I'm going to learn. I'm excited even about the growth of New Voice Books, and like when I connect to my full team, because I feel in my heart of hearts that those people are going to be amazing, like top tier in their profession. Like, hands down, they the best. And that I'm going to even learn more from them. But I'm thankful that God has given me my time with him to teach me the things that I need to know, because then I'm not just relying on my team as the subject matter expert. I stand as the chief subject matter expert of this company. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that. I wasn't so confident. Like, I would be the one on the other side of this video, like the blueprint. I would be watching someone else saying, the blueprint, well, how can I be that? How can I be that? And even as I'm sharing with you today, it's like I'm encouraging myself as well. I can hear in my mind, like, Tiffany, you are the blueprint. Tiffany, you are the blueprint. Because sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes there's not always somebody there to pat you on the back and to let you know that you got this. Sometimes you have to know that what he said to you, what he has said over you, is the truth. It's the truth. Whether you see it or not, it's the truth. It is the truth. So when I started, I didn't see many people like me in this space. I didn't. Not to say they wasn't out there, but I was not connected to anyone. I didn't have no one in my circle that had written a book or was writing a book, or even just carried some of the dreams, that I had in my mind. So I didn't know, could these things be possible? And I know I hear somebody saying, well, Tiffany, you always talking about God. You should have faith in God. I did have faith in God. But my faith wasn't as strong as it is now. And that may be all of us. The word says that we will go to faith from faith to faith, from glory to glory. So that tells me that there will be an elevation and an increase, a leveling up when it comes to your faith. And so at that time, I had faith in God, but it was hard for me to believe. Hey, Kingdom Scribes, good morning. It is a early morning for me today, but I wanted to just share with you that we've been together for like 6 episodes now, and I need you to go ahead and make that commitment. Yeah, I need you to go ahead and make that commitment and join the Kingdom Scribe community. So click on the subscribe button so you can subscribe, like the YouTube channel, The Author's Corner Podcast with myself, Tiffany Dillard, and then share it out with other writers and authors that you know that are needing education, they're needing training, they're needing tools and resources, they're needing motivation and encouragement when it comes to their book projects, their journals, their planners, their poem books, whatever God has placed in their hearts to write. New Voice Books is here to help them. And we have a podcast, the Author's Corner Podcast, with me again, Tiffany Dillard. So make the commitment yourself and then share it out with others so that they can make the commitment also. Be blessed. Even in something that I didn't see, that I didn't have a clear picture on, and I am one that I need to see it. I need to have some details. I need to have some examples. But he didn't give me that. I had to step out and trust him like I have a blindfold on my face and know that as he led and guided me through this book publishing process, that he would connect me to those that I needed to be connected to at the appointed time that I needed to be connected to them. And he did that. But even though I didn't see it, I still had to show up and be it. I couldn't just give up and say, well, I don't know if I could do this, God, because I don't see nobody else doing this. I don't know nobody else that's writing books. I don't know nobody else that's telling their stories. And yeah, I could have focused in on the well-known authors or whatever, but their story wasn't on the level as mine. They wasn't living my life, because I'm looking at my finances. I'm looking at all the things that are within my reach, within my access. I don't know what their path is. I don't know, they're going through traditional publishing houses. They have agents, I don't have all of that. So looking at them was really far stretch. I couldn't really, pay attention to what they were doing. I wasn't seeing someone that was on my level, that was self-publishing as I had to. And it was fearful, just to be honest. And don't come for me all holier than thou Christians and we shouldn't be fearful. It's an emotion. And I was fearful. But even when I was fearful, I still chose to trust God. So I felt the feeling and I chose the behavior. And the behavior was to trust God. So being the founder of New Voice Books is huge. It is huge. Because I have been entrusted to take someone's manuscript and help them to birth it out. And it's not an easy process. Because I am having to help that author understand that they are an author. Just as God had to help me understand that I was an author. I am an author. I have to remind them daily, you an author, you an author, you an author, you an author. You're not just somebody that's just out here just writing a story or telling your story or creating a journal or creating a planner or whatever God has given you as a book project. That's just not you just doing something like you doing a craft. You are an author. Even when they may be still writing, I have to encourage them that you are an author. So that means that I have to continue to show up daily in boldness and in confidence that I am the one to help them. Now, I'm not going to say building a business is easy, because it's not. Especially when you're not coming with the, funds. It's not like I'm getting an inherited business that somebody already built and they did all the work and I'm just kind of coming on in. No, this is a business that I am building that I will leave as a legacy to my children and grandchildren. That they will talk about their mama and nana years from now and talk about what I built and what I created with God, always with God. Because remember, we don't do anything without God. And so just saying for a while, when people were like, what do you do? And I'm like, I am the founder and CEO of New Voice Books, which is a Christian book publishing company that will help Kingdom Scribes share their stories of inspiration, encouragement, and healing with the world. We will leave legacies of literature in the earth. I remember when I had to just learn my elevator pitch. And at first I was just trying to do it because this was something that you do in the business industry. That's what I've learned that you need to have locked in as an entrepreneur. But the more and more I said it, the more and more confident I became. Not arrogant, confident. Because I could feel God raising something in me to confirm, yep, that's who you are. Yep, that's what you do. Yep, that's who you're going to help. Yep, that's what you're going to leave. Every time I said it, he was like, yep, 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 yep. And I had to continue to stand on it. And then he helped me to become bolder. He helped me to become more confident in what I was saying and what he was doing in me and through me. So being the founder and founding New Voice Books is a milestone for me. And New Voice Books, we support Christian nonfiction authors. Now, I'm not going to say that we're just going to be with nonfiction and nonfiction only. We're not going to publish fiction books. I'm not going to say that, because just over the 3 years that New Voice Books has been open and running and established, God has done amazing things. God has done amazing things. So what I will not do is put New Voice Books in a box. Being the blueprint of helping publishing authors and helping them to realize their dreams. I'm always a little nervous when I send out the feedback questionnaire after I'm done with the book project with the Kingdom Scribe. And you may say, well, Tiffany, why are you nervous? And it's like, because I'm wondering what they're going to say. I'm wondering, like, how did they experience me? How was their experience working with New Voice Books? And I'm nervous, but there are times when I read their feedbacks and their comments, and it's on my website, and I tear up. Because I'm like, God, you're doing this through me. And I'm still wondering why. Why are you calling me to be the blueprint? Why are you calling me forth to do something that has not been done in the way that you are wanting me to do it? And it's challenging. It's challenging to be the blueprint. It to be in the forefront, to be a trailblazer. It's not easy, but with God, it's worth it. It's worth it. And then now I'm here launching the Author's Corner podcast to share insight with a wider audience. I was okay with Clubhouse because you had to come into my room. You had to choose to come into my room and chat with me in the Clubhouse space. You had to choose to come on the Clubhouse app. You had to choose to download the app, because it's not like you could go on your laptop like you can with YouTube and just still listen in. No, you had to choose to download the app. You had to choose to find me on the Clubhouse app, and you had to choose to join my room when that notification went off that I was live in the room. But on YouTube, it's like I'm broadcasting on Fox 4 or whatever Fox, news broadcast that you have within your state. But I feel like I'm on the news somewhere. Like I'm being a reporter, because YouTube puts me in front of a wider audience. And God started preparing me like 2 years ago for the transition to YouTube, starting to get graphics done and setting up the channel and all kind of things. But he did not release me to do content until now. And so I was like, are you sure? Like, you sure you want me to go on YouTube? Because YouTube is a lot like, I believe in one episode I talked about how YouTube is going in front of the people, and I wasn't ready for the people yet. But I want to be obedient to what God is telling me to do. I want to be obedient in being that blueprint for someone else. And I'm not going to say that I have a whole lot of followers yet, but I'm still going to come out here and do what God has told me to do. Because remember, it's not about the likes. It's not about the subscribers. I know that God is going to make my name great. I know that God is going to make New Voice Books name great. I know that God is going to make the Author's Corner podcast great, in a place and a space for his kingdom scribes to come and get everything that they need when it comes to book publishing. I know that I'm going to continue to increase the catalog of kingdom scribes that are published through New Voice Books. I know that I'm going to continue to add more literature to the earth by continuing to write books. I'm going to do live events. We're going to do live events to come together and have a good time together, but also get the things that we need to be strengthened, to be encouraged, to be motivated, but also to be educated, so that we don't go out here just with the title of our head saying we're an author, but we stand in boldness and confidence in who God has called us to be. We know that we are the blueprint and that we are here to change lives. You have nurses that are here to save lives, doctors that are here to save lives, but us as kingdom scribes, we are here to change lives. We are here to let people know that they can be healed, they can be delivered, they can be set free, they can overcome, they can build, they can do whatever God has told them to do. Because if he did it with us, he's going to do it with them. He's the same God. He's the same God. The lessons that I learned when it came to being a blueprint is that I have to be willing to take risk. And I talked about that on last episode. I had to be really willing to take risks. I had to be willing to collab with people that I really didn't know, but God knew them. Have you ever, like, somebody introduce you to somebody and they are speaking highly of them and they're letting you know, like, hey, this is the one, this is the person that you need. I trust them. They got you. They gonna help you take this vision or this project to, another level. And you're like, okay, like I'm dealing with them only because I trust you. But you still feel it's kind of a little risky. Well, you got to step out. You may feel a little risky by joining me on the Author's Corner podcast. But you're going to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. You're going to like, you're going to love it, and you're going to share it with others. So being the blueprint, I had to understand and know that I have to be willing to take risk. I had to be willing to embrace my failures, which is a part of my growth. There was a time to where I had a client that she wanted out of her contract. And it was a devastating moment for me because I couldn't understand what I was not doing. I thought we were working on the project together. Nothing was even published. But the services that she desired, she felt I wasn't giving to her. I wasn't giving it to her. So I had to step back. But she did drop some golden nuggets on me that helped me. I learned from them. You know, I took that negative feedback and turned it around and used it for good to better know how to service my clients, to better know how to communicate clearly with my clients, to learn what their expectations of me are, and to let them know what I'm here to do. You know, so I didn't allow myself to stay in a place where I was down in the dumps. But I allowed myself to learn from that moment and grow. And yes, it was a failure. Nobody wants to lose a contract. Nobody wants to say they lost a contract, but it happened. And I grew from it. It didn't destroy me. It propelled me. And then I learned as being a blueprint that I have to celebrate small wins as I build towards the larger goals. I have like product boxes back here. I know I've introduced that at one point in time, and that's part of New Voice Books. It's going to be a new product that's going to be released in 2025. I never would have thought that that's what I was going to be doing. I started with just writing the book. But every little small win I celebrate. Every little small win I thank God for, because I know that I can't do any of this without him. I can't do any of it without him, and I don't want to do any of it without him. And I know that there is greater on the other side for New Voice Books, for the Author's Corner podcast, for myself. But I don't want to overlook the small wins and make that seem as if it's just insignificant and it don't matter, because it does. I celebrate when I learn how to create something. I learn a new tool. I learn a new skill. I celebrate the wins when I was asked to be in, a magazine and do several different articles. I celebrated when I won a blog contest that my writing coach did. That $25 gift card meant a lot to me. You hear me? It meant a lot to me. Because somebody said, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're sharing. I understand your story. So we're going to get into the writing tip of the day. And I want to share with you how to become the blueprint. So first, you have to define your unique voice. Identify what makes your story, perspective, or genre unique. Next, do not try to imitate others. Your individuality is your greatest asset. Show up as your authentic self. Do not try to be like anyone else. Why? Why would you cheat somebody out of you? By showing up like somebody else. And if you're dealing with that, go back to God. Before you do anything else, drop what you're doing and go back to God so that he can heal you and he can make you whole. He can help you get to the root of why you're showing up in that manner. Next, you want to lead by example. Prioritize consistency in your work, whether it's your writing, publishing, or marketing. Whatever God has placed in your hands, be consistent in what you do. Be consistent in what you do. Give it your all. You also want to model professionalism and a strong work ethic. So that means that if you create a writing schedule, and if you're working with me and you share that writing schedule with me, that you hold yourself accountable to that writing schedule. That when you're showing up to your meetings with your publisher, you are showing up and you're being professional. You are ready to take notes. You're ready to receive the information that you need to move forward. If something needs to be turned in, you're turning it in on time. Even if you are the one that's publishing your book yourself, you are holding yourself to your deadlines and your timelines. And you're not just being all over the place because you don't have anyone there to hold you accountable. And let's say that's not really true, because you really do. God's there. And he gonna hold you accountable. Okay. Next, educate and inspire. Educate and inspire. Let me correct that. Share your knowledge through blogs, podcasts, or workshops, live events. You can either create resources for aspiring authors, like how-to guides, courses, mini courses. You can do little ebooks, to share tools and resources. And just to kind of put a plug out there, New Voice Books, we do have a self-publishing tools and resource guide. You can get it on our website. You can go to nvpublishingco.com. So you can go there and get it on our website. I believe it's like probably $8, $9, but it's an ebook. You can download it, and it has everything that you need in there for tools and resources that we use, and also other tools and resources, information that are popular to use for, that self-publishers use that are popular. So you can, go there and get that guide. Be vulnerable, like I was. I told you I lost the contract. Nobody knows that outside of my husband and God, that I ever lost the contract, but I'm not going to hide behind it. I'm not, feeling like, oh, wow, I'm a failure. No, that was a learning curve. That was part of my process. We always think success always comes with wins. But part of success is also the failures. Because how are you going to grow to come back stronger if you don't lose? There are a lot of people that are successful: athletes, actors, authors, business owners, and even in your personal life. There are times where you lose and you deal with that loss, and then you come back harder than before. Because that's part of success. Like, come on now. Like, Walt Disney went to over 300 banks and got denied multiple times before he got that one bank that invested in him to build Disneyland. And he has probably a billion or $1 trillion business now. Even after he's gone, his legacy still lives on. And we can go on and on and on. Steve Jobs, we can go on and on and on for different people. But at some point, there was a failure. At some point, there was a loss. But they didn't give up. They used that to help them to course correct, to get back on track and keep it moving. So being a blueprint, be authentic, be vulnerable. Share both your victories and your struggles. It makes you more relatable, and it helps you to build trust. Nobody wants to be around a perfect person or a person that thinks they're perfect, because we're not perfect, period. God is the only perfect being. But nobody wants to be around a person that always says they get it all right and they never get it wrong. We don't. Because then that person who says they get it all right is always measuring us up, critiquing us, judging us. And who wants to be around that type of person? You don't. You don't. So build trust with those that are connected to you. Build trust with those that are connected to your community. Build trust with those who are viewing your podcast or reading your book. Build trust that you can be vulnerable, you can be authentic, you can be real, you can be relatable. Now, I'm not saying go all the way off the deep end and to be woke, 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 woke. No, just be you. Just be you. Like when I'm coming here and I am doing this podcast with you guys, I'm just going to be Tiffany. That's all I can give you. I can't give you anybody else. I'm not going to give you anybody else because I'm not a performer. So I'm going to give you me, and I'm going to share with you my highs and my lows. I'm going to share with you the great things and the not so great, because I want you to trust me. I want you to know that here you're going to get real information. Here you're going to be seen, loved, heard. You're going to be able to be vulnerable. This is a safe place. You don't have to come here knowing all the things. I'm going to help you, give you as much as I got. And if it's something that we need to learn together, we're going to learn that thing together. Because I'm not going to sit up here and say I know everything about book publishing. I don't. I'm still learning. And I'm going to continue to learn. And you will too. And then lastly, build a community. So being the blueprint, here we go again, build a community. Connect with other authors and readers through social media, events, or groups like the Author's Corner podcast, New Voice Books. We're on Facebook and we're on Instagram. Collaboration also amplifies your impact and creates opportunities for mentorship. New Voice Books has a mentorship program. It's self-paced. So that means you can start and stop, start and stop, start and stop as you please. You're going to see me there as a recording, but you can take your time and you don't have to be rushed. And then you still have access to me to answer, to ask any questions that you have, and I will answer them. We've created the program to give you homework so that way you can test your knowledge. And then you're also drawn into the community of Kingdom Scribes. Yeah, so that's the writing tip of the day of what it looks like to be a blueprint. All right. So know that you are God's Kingdom Scribe. Know that you are the very vessel that He will use to change people's lives. Know that He will put His words in you to write out, to publish, so that someone can have the blueprint in their hands to know how to move from one point to another. Know that you are the blueprint. And yeah, you, the one who hasn't started yet, you're still the blueprint. So know that you can do all things through Christ, that nothing is impossible with God. Allow Him to be the good shepherd that He is. Because when you follow Him, you shall want for nothing. He will guide you and direct you and let you know who your community is, who your resources are, and who them people is. But know that when you build this business that you have, which is your book, you're building on a firm foundation, which is God. So I love you, Kingdom Scribes. Go out and do what only you can do. Show up as the best version of yourself, and that version is your true self. And come back and join me for another episode from the Author's Corner podcast with your favorite writing and book publishing coach. And then follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're also on TikTok and Threads. We're on X, but I think I'm going to come off X. But, right now we are on X. But the main platforms that we're on are Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads. So go ahead and connect with us and join in with us with the Kingdom Scribes. We, share a lot of announcements, advertisement, weekly motivations. We do all the things on those platforms. So stay connected with us, and then I'd love to hear from you in a chat, on a post. I would love to hear from you. So have an amazing day. And I love you. Be blessed.